Sup fam.
Wrong screen. I hit the wrong button on my stream deck. It was still one for today. Just in a second.
Scuff stream, baby. What's up, dude?
Nothing, man. It's Tuesday. Freaking already
18th.
Halfway through. It's the 18th. It's crazy to think. Shout outs to Brez for 29-month tier 1. Appreciate that. Gnarly Charlie for you. 18 months, as I refuse to believe it's been this long. Yeah, dude, that's a long time. And then Exo Squid, loving the title name with his tier 2 for 21 months. Damn.
Hell yeah. We're a couple months away from getting those hot 36 months. We should be getting a few 30 months soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming up quick on 3 years as a channel too, which is crazy to think about.
It felt like we just celebrated 2 years.
Dude. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's
just like a part of life now.
Yeah, it is. When I was
like, yeah, you stream.
I was telling Dave before this, like, for whatever reason, this week has felt like the week didn't feel long, but it felt like it's been forever since we streamed. But I don't know.
Yeah, I stream Saturday, so.
Yeah.
Where case 1112 is taken, I got to chat with for quite a bit. So hello, case 1112 is taken. And everybody else, Kabumomi, Double Day, Brez, man, what's up? I love the hot sauce you sent me. Exo Squid, Kinnick, Static, that one Brody, hello. Yeah, man, it's fucking mid-January. So be safe, people. My school, dude, we're like borderline about to get shut down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's
It's
there's a couple
bananas.
there's a couple school districts in the area that have, which I feel like is probably good. Like if you have it even exposed at home, just like have everyone be at home. Yeah, it's crazy. We have a couple people out again because of the vid, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I feel like kind of almost what it is like now is that the Omicron or whatever.
Omicron.
Yeah, it feels like it's just kind of at the point where it's like everyone's just gonna get it, and they're just like, at least this one doesn't suck as much. Which I don't know. We'll see.
Well, according to experts, it's supposed to get better in February.
Yeah.
So just be safe the next two. Maybe just don't go out.
Don't,
for like
don't
10
say that,
days.
I don't want to get it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If we, yeah, I think that's the thing. Is like, don't go out if you don't need to. Like, going out to parties and clubs and stuff, and like,
Or and we'll say get vaxxed if
Get
you're
vaccinated,
like desperately, if you desperately want to go out, like
go get boosted.
that booster. So, where's my DD? DD Decline will be joining us. So, we will be joining our first guest of the year. We were going to have Anna, but we had I almost said from UPAS. Anna from Cannon Keys. But we had a scheduling conflict, so she will be on next week. Very excited about that stream. But no, so I reached out to Dee and was like, hey man, let's get you on. Let's talk about he gave me the idea for tonight's stream. So shout outs to Dee Decline. So big help there, but starts on me needing to be in Miami for a week for work stuff. I mean, if you have to go for work stuff, I mean, there's not much you can do there. Maybe ask them for leniency, but who knows?
Yeah.
That one Brody got my booster this weekend. Arm still recovering. Yeah, the booster kicked my ass for like 24 hours, like almost on the dot. Like I actually did a stream that day. I don't remember what it was, but I remember hating my life through it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was just exhausted. And then after the stream, I slept for like 3 hours and that was fine. It was like, all right.
That's
whatever.
like kind of how the shots have all been. Like some of it, the first one hit people hard, and then for some it wasn't nothing, and then the second one just like destroyed them for a couple days. But hey, go get him. I need to get my booster, so I need to get it. But been meaning to. I meant to go get it during the holiday break, but then had a run in, so I didn't leave my apartment for a while. But yeah. Oh man,
there it is.
It's crazy times.
Quite crazy. So Exo Squid, Gnarly Charlie, Brez, Starstone, thank you all for the sub. Starstone coming up on 30 months. 30 months. Jesus. Well, we have some amazing sponsors and partners. Our sponsors are OmniType, Project Keyboards, Canon Keys, and Kinetic Labs. Our amazing partners, Zap Cables, Type B, Smith & Root, and 3D Keeps, rounding out those. So be sure to check those out, save those tabs, especially on the sponsors. It really does help us continue to do awesome stuff on stream. Thank you. I will start off because you have better mail.
Okay.
But you have mail. I don't have mail. So what is on your desk and what'd you get for mail me? I didn't get anything mail wise, but I do have some mail coming. Wife won the doohickeys grab bag.
Hell yeah.
And a little surprise from Kinetic Labs, which I don't think even you know about because I forgot to tell you.
Hell yeah.
So that'll be coming. To be fair, he told me yesterday, but I've got my Hive 60.
Nice.
This is a gasket mounted 60% with SA dual shot. Oh my God. Whew. Those arms. It's put it in.
Getting sore.
It's sore. But yeah, it's got sunflower, 69 gram symmetric springs. I love the way this board sounds. I love the way this board feels. And was honestly looking forward. I was like, I put it on because last week I let chat decide, and I was like, kind of hope it's the Hive 60, but it was not. So, but this one will be it for the week, and that is it for me. What about you?
Yeah, so I'll start with what's on my desk. It's a return to what it was on my desk before. Just put it back. I've been using the SAT-75 a little bit, but then it's really difficult for me personally, the way I play video games, to use that because of the right-mounted US.
13 months of hot, sweaty love. WTF.
Thank
Love
you,
you,
Lux
Lux
Cables. It's hard for me to game because of the right-mounted USB port. I'm afraid that I will just slam my wrist or my hand into it and just destroy my board. So I'm back. I got the Bauer with Modern Dolce Light. This has got a palm plate with 63.5 gram symmetric spring lavenders in it. Feels good, looks good, sounds good, very clean, very classy look, I feel like. Sorry, my mouse died, so I have to plug that in real quick. All right, cool, we're good. And then as far as mail, I've got two things, which it's actually funny. This is a Christmas present from my brother, who is not involved in keyboards in any way. But my brother and I have always shared hobbies, and he's always really enjoyed the artistic nature of it. And he found this. This is from Etsy. He purchased this. It's a little Anubis artisan. It's actually quite large. It's not very little. But it's I think it's 3D printed and then painted. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this will go alongside. I've got the one that you gave me a couple years ago of the Osiris head.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I'll have to put those together, and maybe I can put them together on what I also got, which is here, which I've been waiting on for a little while. This is my Iron 180, which I am very stoked for. Which, that's the plate, so let me get that out of the way. I'll show it off here in a second. I literally have opened this a total of one time. And this is the second. Oh, the little deal came off. So this is my Iron 180. I got the white one. And then, yeah. Boom.
Boom. So clean.
Very clean.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you to build that.
Dude, me too. I'm super stoked to build it. Still don't really know what I'm going to build it with. I feel like I should build a tactile board because I haven't in a while, but I do kind of want to do a linear because my other iron board is the Zykos. So I don't really know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll probably figure it out because I kind of want to build that this weekend. Even though we haven't really talked about what I'm building this weekend, which is probably going to be this.
I forgot to post a fucking schedule, so you're good.
Yeah, if I can get something in time, if I can figure out what I want to do, I'll build this weekend. If not, then we can do it next weekend because I may not be able to stream. I might be working an event, and there's a Call of Duty event that I might be working. But other than that, that is my
Hey man, I'd be okay with that. That gives me 2 Saturdays to get my shit together.
There you go.
So, yeah, man, I'm excited for you to build that. I'd say go tactile, but that's just me. I like tactiles in gasket mounted boards. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I'm sorry. Like today, I was just tired. Like I went to sleep 10:15, 10:30. I think the last thing I did right before going to sleep was have a very short conversation with you about something, and literally was like, okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny too. I'm a little tired today too, and I drank when I got to work. One of the guys was like, "Hey, they had a like buy 2 get 1 free deal on Red Bull. So do you want it?" And I was like, I mean, sure. I'm not gonna turn down a free Red Bull. So I drank a Red Bull, and I also had coffee. So I drank coffee after I got back from lunch because I had it in my like little Yeti thermos thing. So I had a Red Bull and coffee today, but I'm still like getting slow.
I think it was the heat. I think it was the heat today.
Because it's been so cold, and then today it was like I mean, it's what, 8:20 right now here in Dallas, and it's 66 degrees outside, at least where I am. So
like I
pretty
did
warm.
like afternoon like traffic, like afternoon pickup. And I was like, man, it is toasty. But quick aside on that. If I am telling you to stop because there's a kid in the crosswalk, I will not let you go until both of their feet are out of the street. That's my rule. If a kid's foot is the street, you're not allowed to go. I don't care if you can get past them. I don't care. Kids are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so when I am holding my hand up and you give me the little because the kid's already there but just kind of moving slow, guess what? I'm not fucking letting your kid just I'm not letting you go. If anything, I'm gonna let 3 or 4 more people that are all the way across the street go out of just being petty. like do you want, if it was your kid, you probably want the same courtesy to know that that kid needs to be on the grass, on the curb before I let you go. It's not difficult. Also, this means come forward. So, whoa, I went robot. We're having a hard time right now, apparently. Where my computer is, it's overheating quickly.
Oh.
Because it's just like crammed under my desk right now. But yeah, if I do this, that means pull forward. That's all it means. It doesn't mean completely ignore me. It doesn't mean move 1 inch further and then park and get on your phone. No, it means come all the way up. If I'm doing this and I'm pointing at the ground, that means we're past the point of me being okay with you moving up, and move your fucking ass to right here. Anyway,
dude, people are wild, and like people are always like in a hurry in their like cars and stuff, and I'm just like, where do you have to be? That's like that insane that you need to be like 15 seconds faster to get there. And like, if that's the case and your like entire life is depending on it, then you probably should have like woken up early, left a little bit sooner. Better. Like, just like, I don't know. It's weird. So we've been driving kind of virtually, and it's like, enjoy the process of just like being in your car and driving. Like, it's a crazy thing that we get to get in a vehicle that will take
murder
us
people
from A to B. And like that's crazy to think, you know, we don't have to fucking walk or ride a bike, or you're not on the bus. Like, you just do it. You just enjoy that time to yourself, you know, or with someone else, you know.
I also got brake checked this morning in the park. I'm doing 15 and they fucking brake checked me and went 4 over a speed bump, 4 miles an hour. That's like the biggest trigger in the world for me. You're not supposed to go 4 miles an hour over a speed bump. That's how you doing that over and over and over will slowly screw your suspension up. You're supposed to go over a little bit quicker. Let the tire pressure take some of that. You can most of the time you can find it for free. All right. Go over it a little bit faster than 4 miles an hour, because my goddamn Mini Cooper can't take it. All right. So don't brake check me at fucking 6:55 in the morning.
You do take speed bumps very fast.
I do, but not at. I don't need to be taking them at 4. Anyway, rant over about that. It's probably why I have to refill my tires all the time. But hey, again,
yeah,
I will spend $1 on tires every 5 months and not have to replace my suspension.
Well, I mean, depending on how fast you go, you have to replace your suspension anyway, because you bottom out and just destroy your shock, or you just snap the spring.
Yeah, Exo Squid, you got it right. You're not getting there for the speed bump.
You're
going too slow. I love it. Anyway, let's talk about keyboards. You guys are here. It's 8:27, and we've briefly mentioned keyboards.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about. We have the main topic, which is kitting, which we'll get into a lot with Didi. we're going to try and like bullshit our way through talking about kitting like we have ever done that before. And then we're going to talk to an expert who's done it multiple times. So, you know, kitting is difficult. It used to be like, I'll mind you, Olivia, GMK Olivia, that was sold in March of 2018, March or April, one of those months, had 2 kits. If you wanted anything in that second kit, you had to buy the whole kit. I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't cheap. And so what winds up happening in those is you might lose some of those extra kits, but that's back when we were really trying to cram as much as we could into 2 separate things, because splitting out kits. Now, we've all talked about whether or not people like the numpad being split out and all these other things. Like, I personally would love, the mod colored accent space bars in the kit. Beggars can't be choosers. So I just, anytime I see a keyboard, I'm like, I'm probably going to get that plus the space bar. But we've evolved in GMK, but now there's an interesting situation unfolding when it comes to in stock, because now a lot of that is, I mean, it's still all the vendor's decision, but it's even more of a decision now, because now it's like, this is what you get. There's no like, I got this and then maybe I can go get this later if I'm lucky. It's like, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So I've been looking at a lot of kitting. We were a little critical of whale and octopus because there are a couple caps that we thought could have been added, but were not. Especially that split backspace life. Where they fix that now. That's in Corn and their upcoming set that I don't know if they've announced. Let me just check their Instagram. We will be getting one to see. I'm excited about it. But it makes it more of an interesting decision, because since you're buying all that shit up front, I mean, it's per key, right? So you might not be happy with what you get, but at least it's like everything's all at once.
Right.
And you have to make a lot of people happy. You have to understand that the Alice keyboard is super popular now. I mean, we knew that was coming years ago, that this layout, this split backspace, and now you have to support all these space bars. And then we'll talk to Didi about 40s, because that's a whole another fucking thing about supporting 40s, and a lot of these unfortunately are not going to get 40s kits.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you start making the hard cuts of going, hey, it's an in-stock thing. I'm not going to add $20 to my in-stock keycaps for the 2,000 that I buy so that 80 people can be happy.
Right.
Like that doesn't make, you'll lose way more than 80 sales on those $20.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting, like Uncle Pepe talks about like GMK and other companies doing smaller base kits, like a more compact kit that covers like 60 to TKL to lower price. And I think that has been super common to offer a lower price, but I think it's different. It is weird to see, because like if you look at it, the times of like the 2018 and before times, people were shoving stuff in to try to get the like you would try to shove everything into a kit to make it as supportive as possible, to where like you either have like 2 or 3 kits, look at, like you mentioned, Olivia, original Taro, where it's like there's like very few kits and the kits are a little funky because it's really just to support as many people as possible. And to get those in, and get them to an MOQ, whereas now MOQ is a little bit easier to reach just because of the amount of people that are in the community. And so that's why you see things like, what is it, Moto Light, or not Moto Light, Moto had like 7 or 8 kits. Moto Light, I think, also had that, where you're able to spread things out and it's maybe not having to spend quite as much But yeah, I mean, it's always rough, right? Because 40s is such a vast deal. Because like, I mean, there's even some 60 layouts that don't get supported in like the in stock PBT stuff, like the weird arrows one. That's really popular with the Chinese community. That doesn't get supported quite the same. And I don't know. It's hard to draw the line because it feels like there's a lot more. Like there's a lot more that like 40s, and we see the same thing. Like we have the same issue with ISO, which we do also see. Like I don't know of. I'm obviously not super in touch with the European communities, but there's a lot that they need that they are not getting from base kits. You've got people like Huey who he uses, I think it's
Kvorak or whatever.
Yeah, Kvorak, but he uses like standard alphas, but he types in Kvorak, which is a different layout of letters. So I mean, there's also like the argument of like, well, the keys are there, maybe it just doesn't look right. That was the thing with some of the Kinetic Labs stuff, right? The split backspace is kind of like it's possible, like you have all the keys you need, but it doesn't look correct. I don't know.
Just dots. It's interesting because you look at the 3 most popular keyboards. L4. It'd be interesting. I think TKL's probably could be 4th.
Well, just TKL is so much. You have to do TKL because that's the. I mean, that's the normie. Bringing the normies in, right? Like that's the normie aspect of it.
But the big ones right now, 60, but 65 and 75 are the 2 biggest in my opinion. If I had to ask about because 60 will probably never hit its popularity that it did 3 or 4 years ago, because bringing in the normies, bringing in those people, from gaming, it's like you have to have arrow keys. You have to have arrow keys. You have to have arrow keys. Back then, it was like 60% are cheaper to make. So it's a smaller board, and if you just make one PCB that kind of fits all, then boom, you can have a standard PCB, and it's great. But 65 and 75, when you show someone a keyboard, especially at a 75, that's different, but people can look at the 75 and go, okay, I see what you did there. When you look at the 65, you go, there's like that extra layer of like, wait a minute, there's no F row. Wait a minute, I don't care. Okay, yeah. Let's go. And which is funny because I've seen that where people go, well, I need these keys. I'm like, aren't you a Mac user? Like you don't even have F row on your standard top row. That's like lighting and shit, and then you have to hit like command F12. Well, I don't know. It's been like a decade since I've used Mac.
No, you're right.
But I'd say those 2, and then 60%. A lot of that's just cost efficiency, and TKLs are there. So those 4 are so much bigger than everything else. And you have your 2, which means give me my damn short shift and move on. And that's honestly the most important key to have, in my opinion, is the 1.75U short shift for right shift. I think that's one of the most important keys that we've done from moving from, because do you remember the Enjoy PBT sets? They used to not have that key, or some of them didn't have that key, and they didn't have split backspace either. And you just kind of had to fucking deal with it. So I think with that, I'd love, 7U bottom row support is probably number 2, since we've got all these others. So it brings up the kind of case of like, well, everything in a TKL, as long as you include that short shift and that 7U bottom row, if it can fit in the TKL, it can fit in the other 3 keyboards. So then it's like, well, why am I selling massive things outside of this? Okay, Alice space bars I get, maybe throw in an extra B But after that, and then the numpad, of course, because some people want, numpads. But after that, it does really start getting tricky on where do you put these keycaps and which ones, because, there was a great line from Garrett of Omnitype when he was talking about redacted, where he was like, it was great because there are certain keys where we only had to make one because it was a redacted. So if we put a redacted mark on this key, now it can be used in 4 different places, or it can be used in 40s now. And I think that's a great way of being creative of how you can do it. I think sets like Polybius, where you have a lot of the accent mods, while it might be a little more expensive because you have to do new molds, it's really cool to see something like that, because then you can start really spreading out where you want everything, as pending it's on the same row. Yeah,
and I obviously, right, this was a big commotion, probably 2 years ago now. The numpad being removed from base kits, and obviously that was done in a way to bring down costs a little bit, right? You sell, maybe a little bit more because you can lower the cost by $10 a base kit. That's how we get the $99 GMK sets. But then that raised a lot of things, a lot of concern from people. But I do agree. I feel like numpads are it's few and far between where I'm like, man, I wish I had the numpad.
I don't currently. I will for that whenever I get the actual run, because eventually I will send that back to Upas. It just looks so beautiful, and I love typing on it from time to time, even though it doesn't work. But yes, I mean, it does. I do run into that problem where I'm like, fuck, I don't really know what I'm going to put on this.
But I feel like I don't have that issue, except for on sets like a set that I would love to have the numpad on that I don't, is minimal, because it is a minimal set. But I'm like, now I have everything for Metaverse. So I'm like, I don't really care. Like, it's just having like a basic set where you have everything. But like but
we have 9s.
More aesthetic sets, like colorful sets that are going on boards like 65, 75s, TKLs. I mean, obviously even 40s, which we don't collectively have any of. But
not yet.
The thing that would be cool is taking
40, baby.
Taking the numpad out and adding more kits to have more compatibility in the base kit. I think would be I would be more happy to pay that same $10 extra, like instead of $99 be $109, and have a larger base kit that supports more people, and just get rid of one of the child kits that's, maybe not necessarily as or maybe a super popular child kit that could be just thrown in the base, and then all of a sudden, you don't necessarily need that anymore. I think if they have that trade-off of taking the numpad out to add more compatibility in the base, so that the people who are in those sub 1800 layouts maybe are a little bit more happy, don't feel like they have to stray outside of the base kit, I think that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of that, I want to bring up, before we bring on DD, and we'll loop back around to kitting, because he's definitely more the master of kitting. I sent you a link so they did announce it. It will be the what's the name of it? I know it's Seal, Polycaps Seal, which is an interesting set. I think it will be glaringly obvious why I say it is interesting. But again, I'm glad that it exists, because this is a good option that is, while yes, very similar to another key set, is not really a key set that it's like it's already like. So is there a way you can pull it up on screen?
Give me 1 second. Yes.
Oh, Gucci. So if you haven't seen Polycap Seal, it does bear a very striking resemblance to modern Dolch. Now, I just skimmed through the comments, and I was kind of curious, like, I wonder, I'm sure someone's going to say something, and someone did, of course, saying, hey, this looks like modern Dolch. First and foremost, Modern Dolch is literally made off of another key set that was made off of a key set that's like 40 years old, which is Dolch. So more Apollo than Moto, I think. Yeah, I mean that's with the white accents, or kind of like off-white. Where it's kind of like, okay, it's very similar. But I don't see a huge issue with it because it's gray. It's gray.
Yeah, I definitely think it's more Apollo than Moto. Because it's not as dark. It's a little bit lighter overall. It looks like in this picture, but yeah, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see in person. This is what we are getting to see in person.
It's one of those things. It'll look close, and then you'll get the two next to each other, and you'll be like, "Oh, these are shades off of each other," right? Like
Octopus and Bingsu are very different. I would say the purple Octopus and Bingsu,
and that's the thing is if you're looking at them separately, you could be like, oh, these look similar, but then you put them next to each other and you're like, these are not close. Like these are not obviously not the same. So, and I mean, it's not like, I don't know. I think this is fine. They are in different markets too, right? Like, people who are going after Modern Dolch, I mean, it's like what, 30, I don't know how much the extras prices are. I don't know if they're even out yet, but I would assume that it's probably going to be in the $120, $130 dollar range for extras, versus this is going to be at a price point of like $80. Yeah. So like that's a slightly different market. You know, this will be readily available for a long time. Modern Dolch won't be. Apollo, I don't even know where that ran, and I know those are gone. So I get the similarities, but I think it's really difficult when you're grays, and it'll be different when you get things in hand and you can see how different they are.
Yeah. Split backspace, most likely, I would assume. Korn had it, so I'm assuming moving forward, they're just going to have it.
He did confirm split backspace. That was like one of the first things that I saw. Split backspace support. Yes.
There it is. Boom. So there it is. Split backspace support. The other thing too, though, is I have a hard time when people are upset about copying a non-color key set.
Which like Dolch is kind of owned by the community at this point, it feels like.
Yeah. So like it, you know, I can understand when they make something like what's a whale had some similarities with Mizu, but again, very different key sets when you look at them up close. But we are the Dolch now. But when it comes to like white and black and grays and shades of grays, it's like I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
So I don't personally see a problem with it. I think it's perfectly fine. They didn't match the bright colors, so if you want to do it, that's fine. I don't, you know, as the age-old statement in the hobby, you cannot copyright colors. So
yeah, it's difficult with grays because they're all they can be fairly far apart and look similar.
There are 50 shades of them.
It's a terrible movie, and I haven't read the books because I'm not a middle-aged woman. Sorry if you're not a middle-aged woman in chat that's read those books and enjoyed them. I'm glad you enjoyed them, but I saw that movie in a theater, the first one, with a girl
saw that movie
that I was seeing, and we were the only two in the theaters, and someone from the theater, a staff member, walked into the room and checked on us like every 25 minutes. I'm like, do they think people are really just like doing it while watching this movie? Like I get it. Like I'm young, like, but we're not that stupid. Come on, man.
Gilbert Gottfried reading 50 Shades of Grey is quality. It is. It's probably the best shit I've seen on the internet. Anyway, we're going to take a very short break and grab Didi Decline and get him in here. So we'll be right back to talk more about kitting with someone that knows actually about how to kit. So be right back. Just woke up from a nap. A little
Hour
tired, a
nap.
little dark.
30-second nap.
Silly. I'm still gonna send it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back. We are joined for the first time of probably many this year in 2022. Joined by DD Decline, the third guest of Mechs on Deck.
Hey everyone, it's good to be back. I was talking to Dave earlier and I was like, all right, y'all start without me because I'm about to fall asleep. And then I like made myself coffee, got on, and I see Dave like yawning constantly. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. That makes me feel a little bit better.
It's
I
all
feel
of us
I-
for some reason.
I genuinely feel bad when I yawn, but a lot of the times it's like 8 o'clock is where I start. My day starts trailing downward, but I don't, because I have sleeping problems. I have to like cut my caffeine consumption off at like 1, or
Yeah,
I will be.
I'm
up
not
all night.
excited
Except
for
like
what's going to
tea, that'll be
happen
right.
later
Yeah.
tonight. Y'all are going to see me like ranting about some bullshit at like 3 a.m. and just know that it's because of the coffee I drank before coming on.
Dude, when I
I
do
love it.
that, I'll like still feel like I need to go to bed at the reasonable time, and I will, and then I'll wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and just be wide awake. And then it's always like I need to go back to sleep. I need to go back to sleep, and then you're up until like 6, and you're like, you finally fall back asleep, and then you wake up at oh my god, you wake up at 6:30.
50 Shades of Middle-Aged Woman, thank you for the tier 1 sub.
These shades of middle-aged woman.
Whoever made that Twitch account
Wow.
and subscribed, thank you.
Dedication.
Is this? It tells me how old this Twitch account is.
Jesus.
Created 2 minutes ago. This was created. Was it you, Didi?
Nope.
Oh,
I'm here. I am
Not
hands above the desk. It was not me.
that's a fantastic $5 joke. So
I agree.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Thank you for your support, 50 Shades of Middle-Aged Woman. My guess is static. If I had to give your mom,
Thank you for giving your mom a sub. $4 because it's my first sub.
there it is.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Boom. That's free real estate. So, for those who don't know, DD Decline has designed numerous keycap sets. He has also helped out on even more. He is the bleeding heart, screaming at the bottom of a well 40s user and demands respect for 40s users. He is the most interesting man in keyboards. DD Decline, welcome. 2022 first guest. Let's go. So,
Good to be here.
real quick, what's on your desk? What are you typing on?
On my desk right now, I posted this one. This was actually going to be my keyword of the week entry, but I'm on here, so it'll be next week. But this is my Equinox
That's
with
clean.
the EPBT Hunter Green Blanks by Mentlautica, and it's a really nice combo. Actually, usually don't like the base kit mod boards because, I mean, all your legends are wrong. And I didn't even think about it until I put these on. I love blanks for something like that.
Yeah.
It just makes it visually so much nicer. And honestly, I think blanks are kind of underrated. Like, I wish we had more blank sets because this green is really cool. And it's just so nice for compatibility. So I've been typing on this since I built it. I'm really, really enjoying it.
And hey,
Oh yeah.
getting into what we're talking about, blanks, fantastic for kidding.
They solve all your problems. Literally
They
solve
really
every one
are.
of your problems. And what stinks is we don't have a lot of like. When I say a lot, I know there are a lot of options out there, but there's not a whole lot of solid options at blanks currently.
Yeah, and it can be kind of challenging if you want better kitting. A lot of the blanks you see are like, here's a TKL set of blanks. Maybe it has like 65, 75 compat as well. It's like, it's not that much harder, but when you start talking about like even just ortho and 40s, there are keys that you need that aren't otherwise going to be there, and then it gets the manufacturer part. Actually, there's a set that I've been loosely involved with that is a blanks related set. And the holdup, because it's a round 2 of something that ran years ago, and the problem, I've been sitting on this for like 6 months now because I can't think of a manu for it. There's no manu that has everything I want out of it.
Mhm.
So it's challenging. I think the EPBT blanks are pretty good. I think that's probably one of the better options right now, assuming that they don't get stuck in what has become yet another really long queue. That being said, I imagine because they're blanks, they probably skip the queue, but I have no idea for certain.
Interesting.
Korean in New Zealand. That's an amazing but kind of cruel joke. Anyway, yeah, so we haven't seen a whole lot of blanks. I know my brother-in-law sort of, he used blanks and he said it was fine except for what each character was like on the shift layer for your number row. He's like, I was totally fine until I needed to use an ampersand.
I will say, even as
And
someone
you're like, I have no fucking clue where the ampersand is.
I'm a 40s user, all my numbers are on layers anyways, but you get to like the middle area, the like 5 to 8, and I do sometimes forget like the ampersand, the caret. It takes me a second sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah, because
I
caret's
survive.
not a high usage key
Yeah.
for most
No.
people's workflow. But it's one of those
And
ones when you need it, you're like, fuck, where is that?
Where the
Yeah.
fuck is it? And I had that problem with Perestroika, where I'm
Mhm.
like, because all those are, because not only are they not on there, they're on there, but they're all fucking scrambled.
Yep.
So I'm like, cool. Now I can't even look. Then my brain starts being like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just grateful that we have like Via and Vial now, because back in the pre-Via days,
Oh dude,
I would like have to pull up my like written in C QMK key map and hunt down where certain keys were supposed to be. So it saves some dignity that I can now just like open a program and it tells me.
that's like, God, what was it? I always forget the name of it. The TX keyboards one.
Jangu or
something.
Jangu or something like that.
Jangu,
I don't
yeah,
remember the name, but
started with a J, and it was
yeah.
terrible. And I hope no one ever has to use it. So when you are typically brought on to discuss kitting with the 40s when people want to really push for the 40 Jigon. That's it. Thank you. When people really want to push for 40s, and then even in your own sets like EPBT Aesthetic, where you kitted it out and it had lots of kits, but a lot of that was more like color options as opposed to needing multiple kits. I mean, it was such a great price though, so you could just get so many. But, so where do you even begin? Because I know the 40s. There's another one of my favorite Garrett quotes saying the 40s community changes what they need all the damn time, and it's so hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole minivan support, and that's its own fucking ballpark and all of that. So where do you even begin?
So, I think some people are surprised because people will message me for help, and I'm usually, if I'm free, happy to help. And I do appreciate that like people ask for help in general, because usually when someone asks for 40s help, it turns out that they don't realize that where your 40s kit should land has a lot to do with how your other kits are too. There's usually a lot of work to be done in all of the kits, and I'm always happy to help with that. With 40s in particular, it really comes down to, like, to begin with, who's your manufacturer, what are your colors, what's the MOQ you're looking at, GMK especially. I think people get surprised when I tell them not to include 40s or to not make a child kit. And it's obviously not out of malice, but it's because it is so much better to get just the least amount of support viable than have something fail. Because every time it fails, unfortunately, I think the 40s community gets kind of viewed as a monolith sometimes, which can happen in niche communities. And I'm probably guilty about it with other sub communities as well. But someone says, well, I kitted this set with a child kit that was really great and it didn't make MOQ, so I should never do that again. And that's usually not the case. So we've have, like, with GMK in particular, there's a 10% rule. Whatever 10% of your base kit is expected to sell, that's how many 40s kits you'll sell. So if your MOQ is 500, then your 40's MOQ is 50, which for a minimum of 100, unless your vendor is feeling really, really generous, which they probably aren't and don't want to buy out 50 kits, you probably shouldn't do that. So like 50 to 750, generally go with 3 key. Past that, there's the child kit. And then, of course, PBT, as we've seen, is just so much more flexible. We've seen ePBT kitting, we've seen key creative kitting, and this isn't 40 specific either. I mean, the whole meme about cat and cam sets having like a billion kits, right? Um, I think the part that gets a bit more niche is people don't think about things like vendors not wanting too many SKUs as much, or making sure that your kits are priced in a way relative to each other that they're not going to cannibalize each other's sales. One of the biggest examples I think that actually worked out well, but I was kind of surprised. GMK Arch, I think it was, they put 3 key support in their base kit, and then they also had an assembly kit. Which seemed like a risky move for the assembly kit getting made. It did work, and that's partially because our Arch was an incredibly popular set, and I'm glad it worked. But it can certainly be varied, and it is a scary area that's still changing a lot. We just had DCS Polarized Dark run, and Iwane tried something brand new for kitting that, and it worked. And it's great because it is helpful for us. So I get when Garrett talks about like the 40s community is constantly changing. It's hard to keep up. I get that. It is not a static environment, but that's part of what makes it fun and exciting, is that a lot of the different sizes of keyboards, you kind of know what you're getting. I mean, there's memes around this being the 65% gasket mount of the day. There's a meme around every TKL looking the same. And that's not to say that's the case. I don't think that's the case. But for better or worse, the size options are one of the ways in which 40s are really exciting. That being said, I do think, and this isn't just limited to 40s, we see a lot more in stock surprise sets being run, which is awesome. I do think, though, while we see like less of the interest check process we're used to, it's important for vendors to take feedback. They don't need to make a public IC, but consulting people is good. Honestly, Omni-type sets are a hard buy for me at this point because the 40s kits generally don't look good on my boards. I wish they did. I've hoped for them to improve in that respect. I would still love to see it happen. I get where the burnout comes in, but I don't think the 40s market is one that's going to go away. I think 2022 is actually going to be really shocking in that respect. I happen to know a lot of the boards that are about to run, and it's finally moving in the direction the rest of the community is, where you're getting a lot more of a premium segment. You're seeing a lot more of the aluminum gasket mount weights, higher price tag. Whereas I think some sections like ergo boards, you see a couple, but generally you're seeing still a lot of stacked acrylic 3D printing, and that doesn't necessarily correlate to people wanting to buy more expensive keycaps. So I'm excited to see what this year brings for 40s and keycaps in general. I think between all the in-stock stuff, the new manufacturers we're seeing, the move away from GMK for now, I think it's a good thing. I think it'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or did you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it is cool to see things like DCS, like you mentioned, DCS Solarized Dark doing different stuff with 40s, because it, like you mentioned it, and I get kind of like what Starstone says in the chat. I feel like 40s does what the other layouts and the rest of the community is somewhat afraid to do, and is to just say, fuck it, why not? Let's just try it. Let's just do it. So, and to that, you lead with some things that maybe it's a new key or a new way to order the keys that may be super popular for a short time and then not. But like, that's cool. Like that's what makes this community awesome, is that you can try those things. Like, I don't know, it feels like 40s as a community has a lot more of a fresh mindset in the way to like redo the basis of what we're used to with a keyboard, instead of just, you know, throwing gaskets or a new mounting style at it. They just so I don't know. It's one of those things that's easy to be like, man, this sucks. And as a vendor, I could see why, because it feels like, oh, there's always something new. You know, there's always and I just added this, and then now no one wants it anymore. So then I got to change that for something else. And it's like, you always feel like, even though it's maybe been a year and a half before you, since you've made a change, it just feels like a burden because that's the one that you're having to change the most.
Right. And I think this is a large part of what I and some others have tried to do is, you know, sometimes people come in for getting advice for 40s, and you know it's out of a sense of obligation. This is not a 40s user. This is possibly a designer or vendor that has a lot of more important things going on. And we've worked to make it so that we can say, here you go, rather than what may have happened in the past where we then argue about what should and shouldn't be included, and they're just sitting there like, well, this is awkward. So it's good in both respects, right? People are receptive, and that's been great for 40s users. But also, we've, I think, done a lot to meet halfway and say, we get the challenges you're facing. You know, that's what 3-key was born out of. And there's a common criticism of it. Well, this is just minivan keys. And it's true that the 3 keys in there are minivan support keys. The thing is that every other popular 40s layout is already physically supported. So 2 of those keys are dedicated to minivan for the most part. That's true. The tab key is literally every single 40 set. And I think there was actually a set that ran recently that had 40 support except the tab key, which is really, really unfortunate, because it's literally unusable. But so what's that allowed is for every popular staggered 40s layout, you now have physical support. You can put it on your keyboard, and the legends might look scuffed, but it works. And that's a huge deal for a group that generally hasn't had that level of support. And we do a ridiculous amount of polling, probably 2 or 3 a year, where we, you know, talk to the community about what layouts are popular, what legend options are popular, what accents are popular, so that we can give better information to designers and vendors, because we don't want to be a burden for kitting for the community at all. And it's cool to see that stuff included. Especially again, going back to like in stock stuff, nice PBT with the 40 support has gotten great. I'm really excited to see future sets come out. My own nice PBT set actually, I think, will be around the corner, and it's got a full 40s kit in the set, which is just really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm excited.
Yeah, with Starstone, this is the, I mean, at the core, this is what Starstone says the issue is. 40s is a niche within a niche, and they seem to be the most vocal, but they don't show up to purchase things. So it's hard. That's the problem, right? Because when a key set comes, not only do you have to like the colorway, but you also have to like the colorway, want to buy the base kit, and then also the 40s kit, when you're only going to be using half the base kit, and which is just kind of funny because that kind of just goes all the way back to fucking pumping the brakes on the numpad. But yeah, that's the problem. But what I am starting to like, you know, I look at Candy Keys right now. The nice PBT stuff does have quite a bit of 40 support. So some very cool key sets that are offering just a little bit more. You know, I look at, so like nice PBT maybe doesn't have everything, but it does have stuff. It looks, and I'm just going to read off a few of these and see if these cover a good handful. So this is nice PBT black on gray, a very great neutral set. It has a row 2 1.75U backspace, row 3 1.25U tab, which is that important one, and a row 3 1.5U enter, which I know, and then space bars include 1.25U, 2U, 2.25U, 2.7, and then the standards. and a couple shifts that are like a 2U shift and a 1.25U shift. So it looks like a couple of, at least a decent amount of support there. I don't know if you feel the same way. I don't know if they have the escape key, the row 2 escape key, but I also feel like with an escape key, a lot of times you're just like, well, fuck it, row 1.
Yeah, I'm happy when the escape key's there. It's not necessary, but it is nice, especially when there's accents involved. And I get Starstone's point about it being a niche within a niche, but that's one of the reasons why the minimal support in base is really nice. I mean, there's a lot of other communities that you could say that about when you look at what's typically in a base kit. Like you've got the row 1 end and page down for users of 1800 layouts. You've got your second 2.25 for 660 users. You sometimes have dedicated HHKB keys. You have UK ISO, which is a smaller community than 40s, but even in GMK sets tend to get more than a couple keys that even for other international languages are not relevant. So that's that's part of the big base kit mentality is we can do something to accommodate as many people as possible, and that's one of the ways that works out. So, if the goal is being able to support people and we can get it to the point where we're not raising price on everyone else by supporting a layout, or we do a child kit and it can hit MOQ naturally, I don't see the problem with that. And I think there's also kind of a chicken and egg thing here where it's like, well, if people aren't going to have keycaps that support the layout, maybe they won't buy the layout, which means we don't have people that want to buy the keycaps because they don't have the boards, and it can be cyclical. Something has to break there, and it is easier to put in a few caps into a keycap set to get people interested in buying the board that they can put their sets on than it is to design and manufacture keyboards and then tell people to go make their keycaps compatible. We saw something similar with 2x3U support for spacebars recently. I honestly don't know where that started from. As far as I'm aware, it didn't start with 40s users. I suspect someone just looked at WinKeyless and HHKB layouts and said, hey, this has a nice symmetry. We should start maybe doing that because it does. And from there, the symmetry is nice. And I like that, that's become a standard. And because of that, people are designing boards around that now. I think it works decently well like that.
Yeah.
And as far as like community size goes, like international support's about the same, if not a little less than 40s users. It's considered different because obviously it's language support. It gets its own tier over a niche board. But that is to say that like we do support our niche communities. That's kind of part of the hobby.
Yeah. And I think there's probably a lot of people that are maybe a little bit more jaded with the narrative of 40s crying about things, vendor making a change and then it not selling, because that was like a very common occurrence when GMK was finally hitting its point where we went from having like 2 kits or 3 kits to like 5 or 6. And then like it felt like when we got into the point of, what was that, maybe 2019, when GMK started to kind of explode a little, it felt like every time it was like, well, we're going to drop 40s. We're going to drop 40s. But now it seems like the community is so big that we can support those. And it doesn't seem like there's as much cry. And the cry that is there is more of like the same thing of like, this has not changed. Can we get a little change here and just do this moving forward? And then maybe we can circle back in like a year and change it again, like we did with, we circle back to now all of a sudden Alice support is everywhere, right? Everything's got an F13 key. Everything's got a second B. These are small modifications that have been made over the last couple of years to support things that are, I mean, like in all honesty, how many boards really have F13s? Like not a ton. And is that really a necessary key even in the most cases?
It's an artisan spot.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
It's like you have another key you could put there, right? Like you could put your print screen key, right?
Your row 1 delete key.
Your row 1 delete key. You could put something else there,
Double delete it, baby.
But I will say there the 40s don't show up. It started from a valid place. And I actually had a really good discussion with a designer who didn't want to support minivan in their set. And we were talking about it. And I was like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you would have been right, because at the time when you looked at what a minivan was, it was a plastic tray mount case that cost about $100. And I kind of talked about this earlier. People that buy $100 plastic tray mount boards are usually not the target audience of a GMK set. People aren't generally trying to spend more on their caps than they are on their board. But since then, the layout itself is more than minivan. I honestly, to be transparent, like I try to refer to it as 12.75U. That's how most other 40s layouts are referred to by their width. And that's because the minivan itself, like the Alice is called the Alice layout, but there should probably be another name for that at this point.
Yeah.
It's not just TGR making Alice layout boards, just like it's not the van.
TGR hasn't made an Alice
minivans.
in a long ass time.
Right. Right. Aside from the police, I guess. But but the point being, like, there are so many other boards with that layout that need those keys now, made by so many designers. And so it's grown in a way, and those boards are more premium. Those boards have all the features you would see in your 65s and TKLs. And so it is now the target audience buying those boards and buying those keycap sets. Just like the rest of the community has grown, so has 40s.
Yeah, and I think just to sort of, more just wrap up for me, is the good thing that's happening is we're seeing more support in the in-stock buys. Yes, you might not be able to get the hottest, best GMK keycap set, but there are options for you, and they're growing. And I think people like you and others, I'm sure, are helping. I know, like, when I think 40s, I think you, but I know that there's a handful of you that are pushing this. But I think 40s it took 3 years for Alice to catch on, and Alice was a layout that the worst part about the Alice layout is most people really enjoyed it. Like I switched to Alice at work every single day. I love the Alice layout. You don't know if you're going to like it until you try it. And then when you try it, you're like, this is so easy. Like, and I know Eric and I have talked about this a lot, where it's like, I don't feel like there's this big change when I go to an Alice board. So it still took a few years to get to. And I think sadly now 40s have been around basically that amount of time, but I think it's just going to take time to catch up and get to the point where we can, with in-stock buys, I think that's really going to help. I think that's going to add a lot. That's going to inject a lot of faith into the keyboard community of like, hey, there's more and more people, there's more and more boards. A big issue with 40s is there's just not like a crazy amount of 40s boards laying around. And when I say crazy amount, they are super wide, but they're not deep. They're like, hey, there's this new 40s board. There's only 30 being made. Like it's pretty rare to see, hey, we have this 40s board. We're selling 4,000 of them. It's like, no, you're not. Like,
I'm going to say yet, because I think 2022 is the year that we see this turnaround. There is one board that will be very easily available that I'm very excited about. I know multiple boards that are running with hundreds to unlimited group buys. And granted, they're probably not expecting unlimited to be the insanity that we would see like summer 2020 for a 65%.
Yeah.
But it is exciting to see those kinds of numbers starting in the community.
Yeah. So as is most things, I just think it's going to take time, and it stinks that there's just a rub. And the people that are in it, that have been in it, the 40s community for like 3-4 years, are just having to be more patient than everybody else, because they're like, oh, I want to be in it, but there's just not as much. And it's just like, you just have to be even more patient. And telling someone to be patient in a hobby where we're constantly told to shut up and wait, it sucks. I can understand. Like, sometimes I feel like the 40s community gets viewed with a chip on their shoulder, and kind of rightfully so, because they're, a niche within a niche, and almost a niche within a niche within a niche. So don't know. Just
The
take
thing-
it takes time.
It does.
The thing that's really nice though about 40s, and I think it could be utilized to push kitting and support further, is to like 40s is a special place because of the 40s Discord.
Yeah.
Unlike the rest of the keyboard community, in a sense, 40s exists within basically, like, for the most part, everything happens in that server, right? Like, that is the end all be all of 40s. That is the gospel for that community. And that could be utilized to figure out, okay, let's do a poll and we build kitting, and then we send, this is what our kitting requests are for vendors, and then see, and maybe maybe doing something like that could cause, you know, more vendors to change what they want, because then they have a more concrete, this is what the 40s community has collectively agreed to wanting. Obviously you'd still rub some people the wrong way, because there'd be people that would miss out, but then at least there's some sort of a compromise to get things better.
So stuff like that's already happening. A vendor asked recently, you know, we would love to know how to prioritize keys, because, like we've been talking about, not every set's the same. And I have now a list, like, these are the different tiers of support, and you can go down the list as much as you want or can. And so here's minimal, here's the next step, here's, you know, the first ortho support you could add. And it's exactly that kind of thing that's going to get us to making it less stressful for vendors and designers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going blank on the Canon Keys keyboard that ran. That was it it's not the Andromeda, no.
What?
Wasn't there a 40s layout?
The Cahal,
A daily?
whatever.
No, the Cahal was I feel like the
Adelaide.
Cahal, Adelaide, that's what it was.
That's what.
Yes.
Yeah, where it's so we've seen them, and the
Equinox.
Equinox, yeah. And I believe the TMO, which is 50, but still. And the TMO 50 was very widely popular. I know the V2 didn't hit people in the fields as much as the V1, but maybe it was 50%. But again, these smaller keyboards. So I think it's just going to take getting people. Maybe 2022 could be the year of the 40. Who knows?
You heard it here first, and I didn't say it.
Here to hear
They've
first.
said
It
it.
could be. I plan on running a 40% keyboard in 2020. Well, I'm not running it, but I am.
There will be one that you helped
There
design.
will be one that I helped design. So, but yeah. So, guys, real quick, if you have some pictures of keyboards that you want to post while we wrap up this conversation, we have 2 currently
3
in our keyboard of the week chant. 3.
Yeah.
Are we doing? Oh yeah, we're doing Seethers this week. That's right. So 3 right now currently in the keyboard of the week. Go over to our Discord. Go to the KOTW channel and check it out. If you have some pictures of your keyboards that you want to see potentially in a calendar, which you can't see, but mine's like back here above the plant. I just swapped it out before stream because
I still need to get mine from you.
I'm sorry, I've been bad. You'll get it in like.
No,
February.
you're fine. I totally forgot.
But so go post those pictures, and so we can judge them. So, but all in all, what you do for the 40s community is not recognized enough. I'm sure it's recognized by the people within the 40s community, but they're just not a lot of it, since it does seem to be kind of a not closed off intentionally, but it's more of just like the 40s community can be wrapped up from what's it called, Monty Python's Holy Grail, and it's like it's Camelot. It's like, let's not go there. It's a city place. Like that to me is that encompasses the 40s.
And I could not do it by myself. I would go insane if I did it by myself. People like Constantine, No Pun, Matthew Diaz also helps so much, because it feels sometimes like we have an unofficial like rotational schedule where there just happens to be one of us available, so nothing falls through the cracks. And everyone just is super helpful, and without everyone else that does it, it just would not be working right now. So yeah.
It's a good thing to like try to push forward to get the narrative of 40s users shouting at a wall and then the wall moving and then them not doing anything about it. That narrative of them saying, we want this, it happens, then they don't buy it. Getting that narrative out and getting a new narrative in of like, hey, this is just the community said they want this, right? Let's make some standards and maybe get this to where we're at now with our normal base kits, right? Base kits changed a lot over the year. Kitting overall has changed a lot over the past couple years.
Can you imagine going back to like someone in 2016 and like showing them what a base kit looks like today?
Dude,
if you like, wait,
yeah.
They'd lose, their brain would explode.
Dude, when
the hell is an F-13?
Dude, you're shoving. There was a point in time where you were shoving 40s kit keys into base kits just because you'd be like, well, if I did this, there's going to be like 5 more people that could buy this that could maybe push it to MOQ.
I will say, I do think it's funny that F-13 is a recent thing because someone is going to actually be about this. The DK Saver, arguably the first custom keyboard, did have an F-13 spot, but that only took off recently for whatever reason.
Probably just easier. It's just one less key, right? One less key. I personally, fight me, I don't really like the F-13 on TKLs.
Oh, I love it. I love the symmetry it brings.
Which is funny to me. You say symmetry. I think it makes it less symmetrical because of keycaps. In mono, it looks great. But most keycap sets, to me, based on the way the colors are, makes it look a little goofy. Especially because most of the time, the escape key for me is an accent key. So it's not, it throws everything off.
Also, I do.
But it's also, it's the perfect artisan spot. So
it is. And also, like, it only looks truly symmetrical if you split backspace, which is really weird looking on a TKL anyways.
Yeah, friendship gets
so right.
Why even solder it? It's just an artisan slot.
Exactly. Save some solder. The 2 like fucking like 4 millimeters of solder that you save. But yeah, all right. Well, y'all want to look at some keyboards?
Let's do it.
I'm down to look at some keyboards.
All right. Let me hit the right button here.
Make sure you don't hit the left button.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is it's not even, if I hit the left button, it would be the button I hit to start the stream, which was the just me button.
Just me button. It would be the left button for you, you fucking left-handed.
Wow.
Lefty. Yeah, I went there. Wow. Goddamn lefty over here.
I am left-handed. But
you should feel bad.
I'm
Eric,
special.
What I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab scissors and cut like a normal person.
Dude. I, as a left-handed person, this is a total tangent. I, as a left-handed person, did not realize that left-handed scissors were legitimately a thing.
I almost bought you one.
They are great.
Wait,
they are fantastic.
I'm sorry, this is a dumb question. How is it different? Like if I put,
it's the way
I feel like I could
the angles of the blades.
Okay.
And the handles.
I see it.
Yeah, it's the way that it, because of the blade being on the other side, it makes it easier to cut based on like the force and everything. But yeah. Sense. Also, if you're left-handed notebooks are the best. The fucking spirals on the other side. Yeah. Because
didn't you make any spiral? Man, I guess.
But then you're writing upside down or on the backs of the paper.
To me, left-handed spiral notebook just sounds like Brett Favre used to make a joke called, "You got any of those left-handed footballs?" Like it just seems like a scam, but like I get it, but like it just me.
Hey,
I wouldn't get it because I'm not left-handed.
You'll never know the struggle. All right. Keyboards. Speaking of those, this is Sether's JO2 with modern Dolch 2 with Gator on Black inks V2 and Duroc V2 stabs. Lots of 2s. Very beautiful picture.
This is just cheating. Like the JO2 is literally just cheating.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically pleasing. What do you think, Didi?
It's funny because I went to delete my keyboard of the week photo because I'm the guest tonight, and this was the photo right below it, and I was like, someone's going to think that I deleted out of cowardice of this photo, and honestly, I understand that. This is such a great photo. I love thematically how it works. The JO2 is cheating. I still have both of my JO2s wrapped up, and I'm so excited to build them because the board just always looks so good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, there's not much. It fits. Like, you've got the nautical theme going, the navy and gray. Like, it just.
Yeah.
Only way that this picture could be better if you had GMK Deep Navy.
Yeah, but then it might be too much. It might be too blue.
much
Yeah, it might
navy.
clash. Too blue against blue.
I think I like
Yeah.
I like the subtle of the keycap set where it allows the artisan to shine in the. I'm guessing this is this is a gauge of some sort. What is that?
Pressure,
Is it a pressure gauge?
I think it's like an oxygen tank.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, cool gauge.
Cool
exactly.
gauge. Yeah.
Next up, hide your eyes, hide the children's eyes. We have a not safe for work picture.
Little
Get
nudes.
some keep nudes. Fiel with a custom zebra wood plate. 3.5 millimeter thick hardwood, which has deep musical thocks unlike any plastic or metal plate. Currently live on the interest check and will go into group buy in a few weeks. Zebra wood's not something Eric and I have never seen before. Zebra wood's used in fancy acoustic guitars.
I would be scared to have a wooden plate. I mean, this looks amazing. I'm curious how it sounds, but I'd be so scared putting switches into it that it would just crack. So it's really cool to see this build.
Yeah. The thing about zebra wood is it's a fairly it can handle the machining and it can handle this. Another wood that I would be interested to see, but it would be probably too expensive, would be like an ebony, or like if you look at the other like musical woods, like a mahogany. You'd probably have to do them in like a tray mount style like this, or maybe like the rubber band
where the support isn't on
where it's
the
not
plate
on
itself.
the plate.
That's actually a really good case for the like PCB gaskets that
Yeah.
we're seeing more of now.
Yeah, because it would be so expensive, but like a Brazilian rosewood would sound pretty solid.
Dude, think about this though. A fucking bird's eye maple with like Moyu blacks would be so loud.
It would be. It'd be very loud.
Because
Very
zebra wood's
pingy.
good. That's going to be loud. That's going to be dense. That's used for acoustic guitars to brighten up the sound and also make it structurally very sound. Zebra wood's dense, so it's not going to absorb a lot of the lower notes. It's going to be I used to actually have, I don't know if you remember, I used to have a zebra wood acoustic guitar and I loved it.
Yeah, the Breedlove.
Yeah, it was a great one. But I think this is really cool. I think it's cool to see wooden. We just don't see a whole lot of wood because it's not done effectively. And also, there's this thing about a company that made stuff out of wood that just kind of up and dipped. So, you know.
Very true. Well, a couple different, because one of them was also doing wrist rests and then decided to make a keyboard out of countertop material and then ghosted. Yeah, no, I think it'd be cool. That's a cool aspect of the community. Yeah, and like you said, Didi, like using those, like the O-ring mount boards, like a Bakaneko would be a fun one to use something like this in, just because you're not putting as much stress. Because in reality, like the switches don't really put that much stress on the plate.
Right.
So yeah.
Next up, a classic, an instant classic in my opinion. Although no labels on this one.
Ooh.
Saturn 60 Perestroika, Cherry Hyperglide Browns. So very old school looking. I think it's funny because you went with like the communist level, like no labels, like This just like I love that you did the no label, because now it's like this is whatever key. It's all of our keyboards now. Like you've injected more personality into this keyboard by taking the personality away.
It just looks so clean. Honestly, Perestroika always looks so clean. Although I will say I do prefer Perestroika with the icon mods, just because the English throws me off with the mono Cyrillic, but this is just a really nice build overall.
Yeah. I also I hope my thought is, and I'm sure this is not the case, but my thought is that Reverb, who took this photo, was out somewhere, saw this perfect red background, and was like, I need to bring my keyboard and a camera and some lights, and I need to take this picture. That's probably not the case, and it's probably something in your house or at a friend's house or something. But
I want to believe that
really
that's
good.
A school color or something. They rushed to the gymnasium and took this photo on the floor.
Yeah, it's on the basketball court. It's it's in the area above the free throw line.
Yeah. The local McDonald's play place. I love it.
Yeah.
So excellent picture. Next up, we have the paintbrush with DCS Delftware, built with Conpeitu. Fuck if I know how to say that. And then FR4 half plate. This is a board that looks like it'd be up your alley, and some keycaps that I thought came out really well. I thought they did a great job on these.
Yeah, I'm excited for this board. It's supposed to go into group buy pretty soon, I think. I know this is not part of the photo, but it's one of the cool things about it is that it's attached with magnets. There's no screws whatsoever. So the mounting, I believe, is top, but I could be wrong about that. Or maybe it's a gasket, but the case itself is attached with magnets. And I love I had to come around to this, but the more I thought about it, the more I love the detached escape, because
so you can use route 1.
You can use row 1. You can use row 1.
It doesn't fuck everything up.
Or you could put an artisan there, and it kind of stands out a little bit.
Yeah, it isolates it. It's
But Delftware
cool
looks super good on this. I really like the photo composition here.
Yeah, and with the escape being pushed out just a little bit, I think it provides a little bit more symmetry with the knob on the opposite side. Because if you didn't have that, it would feel a little bit goofy.
Yeah, I hear you.
If you had that kind of pushed in, it just makes it look a little bit more symmetrical. And you know what? Hey, the knobs were kind of a meme for a little bit after the Satisfaction 75. I finally have my first board of my own with a knob. It's kind of useful. Useful.
So next up, the Powerhouse 40 with CRP, kangaroo inks, and carbon fiber plate. This one, dope desk mat. 2, this keyboard kind of looks like a toy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it literally looks like I could have picked this up in the 90s. Maybe just the keycaps.
It's the angle. You should see this thing from this side. It's a thick keyboard. It is a heavy, thick keyboard. I love the layout of this. It's honestly so great. It's base kit compatible, but also works with a lot of 40s kits, which is unique for the most part for 40s. I love this because I can actually put a Omni type key set on it that has 40s compatibility and get my accent enter key. I can finally do that, and I'm very excited about it. So I'm specifically buying this for Moto Light, I think. It's going to look really good.
Hell yeah.
This does look really good. But it does. I see what you're saying, Dave. I could see a world where this has a bright yellow top with a bright red bottom and is made by a company called Fisher Price.
Yes.
I could definitely, I could see those vibes, but it does look really cool. I like the kind of somewhat bean shape to it.
Also, that desk mat's pretty cool.
It is.
I think it's an okay desk mat.
Solid desk mat.
I want to say it. I want to say this one.
You do?
Yeah, because I like saying. Next up, we've got a Boop 65 from Beep. Beep made it. I just like saying Boop from Beep. With GMK Hammerhead, the set that almost never was. with hippos, symmetric long boy springs from Hooligan. This looks good. I think Hammerhead came out well. Hammerhead was a set that I think was the embodiment of the time almost. It felt like it was the marker of when GMK, everyone was like trying to put sets out and they're like, let's just do it. Let's just go. And it wasn't ready. And the community was like, nah, dude, give it some time. They took time, fixed it, came back, and it did well, and it looks good. It came out well.
It looks really good.
And the beep is boop from beep is good.
I love
There's
the
something. It feels
side.
like a boat. It reminds me of a boat with the white and the curvature.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel like I'm like going fishing. I love that.
It's like a reverse bumper.
Yeah.
Or like a rotated bumper. But I like that you can pick it up from the sides though. Like that's it's nice. It's got handles. Not every keyboard has handles. But the Baka 40 will. And then next up, while this is great, this is an amazing picture. Static. Here's what I'm going to ask you. All right. This is a great picture, but February will be our key butts month because February, Valentine's Day. Ha 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 ha. Butts. So, Static, what I'm going to say now, if you want to post a picture that you have, I think this is an amazing picture and I want to save it for February.
So we're going to delete this?
Yeah.
Okay. Save it for February.
Save it for February. Save it, baby.
Boom.
Save it.
We'll act like it didn't happen.
Boom. Easy. Just ban Static now. All right. So Didi,
brutal.
You are the guest. You get to pick. We'll have 3 picks tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to choose from. You have a 50% chance of getting into the votes.
Okay. I'm going to take the obvious pick. I'm going to go with the JO2. I mean, there's so many good ones tonight, but that JO2 was going to make it in there regardless, and I want to win, so I'm taking it.
There it is. Eric, what about you?
I'm gonna go with the paintbrush because I think it looks really good, and DCS Delftware is a set that I really wish that I've picked up. I think it's very pretty.
I'm gonna go with the Saturn 60. Because the KGB waits for no one.
Oh, Dave. Oh, Dave.
Hey, man. KGB waits for no one, right? Let's see. All right, 5 minutes on. So we have started the poll. If you're on your phone, you can tap the screen. The poll will be at the top of chat. So whatever you are viewing from, look at the top of chat, and that's how you vote. This will be up for... this is our, 3rd week of January, and then next week we will have our finals. So you have the chance to be put in a calendar that we will be selling at the end of 2022, which is crazy to say that we're already working on that one. We just did our last one, and people seem to like it, so doing it again. So you have your awesome choice between the paintbrush, the Saturn 60, and the JO2. We have some awesome sponsors. We've got Omnitype currently. I hope you had some luck in getting the Bauer 2. So be sure to check that out. They've also got some desk mats on there. And then I know they're working hard to get the Bauer light out. They just got the heavy grail Popra stuff working. Omnitype's doing a lot of things that we're not seeing yet. Like if it doesn't seem like they're doing much, it's because they're prepping a lot of shit. So also they have, like 800 boxes showing up every other day, it seems. So, but next up, mechsondeck.project.link for Project Keyboards. Project Keyboards has a lot of pre-orders, so you can go in and pre-order lots of stuff right now. GMK Bingsu, GMK Astrolight. We've talked a lot about Dolch, GMK Noir, Sumi, and Stealth. All you can go, or not Stealth. Stealth is sold out, sorry. But those first 5, you can go pre-order them right now if you missed it. It's going to be a little bit more, but hey, that's a pre-order, a guaranteed spot. So check out Project Keyboards. Next up, Canon Keys. Go to canonkeys.com/mechs on deck. Nice PBT Sailor is out now. It's a very nice looking Navy set. They've got the hydrangea, they've got black on gray, and the nice PBT cannon caps, hydrangea, the CXA caps. If you're looking to get some Anubis and you need 110 because the other packs are sold out, go check out the Anubis switches. Eric and I obviously really fucking like them. So check out Cannon Keys. And then, of course, kineticlabs.store/Mechs on deck for Kinetic Labs. Polycaps Corn out now. And keep an eye out for Polycaps Seal, as well as the Hippo switches, which I forgot which board had the Hippos. It was the Boop by Beep. The Hippos are fantastic linears, so if you want to try that. And Eric, if you don't mind taking the partners, because I'm thirsty.
Okay. Take the partners. So we got some partners. You can go to Zap Cables, check out their coil collars, and use them if you want to make your own coiled cables. They have a video that shows you how to do that. So check that out. They've also got some desk mats over there that are pretty cool, a little different than what you're probably used to, desk mat wise. So check them out. Type Beast, go to typebea.st, sign up for the newsletter. And they're going to be doing some stuff here over the next couple of weeks. We've got Mech Madness starting up pretty soon, before you know it. So be on the lookout for more info from that. I don't know if the Smith Rune website is up yet. I haven't looked at it, but they're updating. And there's more happening with Smith and Rune. So go to smithrune.com. And if it's still down, which I'll have to look here in a second.
I'll check it out.
But check it out. If you're not in their Discord, join their Discord. Be up to date with what's happening with their keyboards and everything they've got going on. And then last but not least, 3D Keeps. Go to 3dkeeps.com. Check out the calendars. There's still a couple left. Go pick up a calendar if you need one. You don't have a calendar for 2022, you can get the Mechs on Deck calendar. Yeah, they've also got switches, just really a ton of other stuff. So go check it out. But yeah, also someone named Hasbula, an account named Hasbula just followed. Nice. I see you there. I get the joke. The Russian joke.
There it is. Sometimes you just got to make the joke.
Dude,
looks like the paintbrush is about to win this thing.
Didi, I thought you would go for your brethren.
See, I voted for paintbrush though.
Okay.
I chose the JO2, but I voted for paintbrush.
Let's introduce a little anarchy. I love it.
Yeah.
So this week, let's just. Well, it depends. It depends very much so. Eric will make an announcement if he's going to be building his Iron 180. If it is not built this weekend, it will be built the next weekend. So we'll let you know about that. Next week we've got Anna coming on from Cannon Keys. Talk about we were going to talk about the AIO3 stuff, but we'll talk about that next week because we want to include her in that. But be sure to look out for that, and be sure to post your keyboard of the week picks. You can post them whenever throughout the week. If you take a good picture, post it up. We always go back to the most recent one. So make sure if you don't want to feel like you miss, or you don't know if you're going to be able to make the stream. Just because you're not on stream does not mean that we wouldn't pick you. So just a heads up. Thank you, CJ Royce. But yeah, let me. I love the honesty. The honesty is what's important. Let's look up someone to.
And I don't know how to say your name. It'll be streamed on this channel. I don't stream on my personal channel really anymore. Maybe I might start playing some games, some racing, but keyboard stuff would be streamed here. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up streaming some racing stuff here every once in a while.
We did talk about doing the 24 hours of 24 hours Le Mans 24-hour stream.
The 24 hours of Le Mans.
I'll join for that. I'm here.
Yeah. Oh no, I was like, yeah, I know Didi. Like when I first said it, I was like, I know Didi will do that.
That is the exact kind of insanity I'm here for.
Yes, exactly.
Like doing virtual Le Mans, like this.
Yeah, they're like, well, I'm sure there's a way to set it up to where we can pass it off on who's driving and who's streaming.
Yeah. I'm sure there might be.
I'm sure we just have to look it up, and it will. And 100%, I'm Cannon Keys will be somewhat a part of that at some point.
So. You could make a virtual, like you could make yeah. There's ways to do it.
It would be happening this summer when we can all take a couple days and figure out what the fuck we're doing with that. So, but let's see. We're gonna raid Halloween boards is streaming.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, what's up next for you, Mr. DD Decline, and where can
Oh my gosh, actually so much right now. Real quick, I am building the prototype for one of my first keyboards tomorrow. Come check that out. I'm doing group by interest check review as well. I'm going to be building this gridiron proto. It's a plank top mount drop-in case. I am streaming another build later this week that I should remember the name of, and I don't right now, and that's not good. What am I building? This is good. This is refreshing my memory. Haven't. I'm building the Haven't, which is an Av clone. So we will be building that later this week.
Hell yeah. Well,
looks like Halloween boards stopped streaming in the time that I found them. So Retro Maple it is.
hey, there we go.
So Retro Maple, don't know, but says they support.
Wait, is Retro Maple live? Because I'm pretty sure that I follow Retro. Oh, yeah.
Late as usual, but with coffee basket weave build. So
yeah.
go check out Retro Maple. Didi, as always, thank you for joining us, and we will see you either Saturday or next Tuesday.
Yep.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.